We are live from Boca. Happy Spiritual Sunday to you all. If you've gone through maybe Kabbalah 2 or 3 already, I would encourage you to start reading Rav Ashлаг's books. I suggested to one of you who are watching, been watching, to read On World Peace by Rav Ashlag. You want to know about how to change the planet, and you want to see how things in many ways have not changed for the last few hundred years. So you read Rav Ashlag. Yeah, I mean, he was writing back in the 30s and 40s. And what he's writing, sadly on one hand, fits what's going on today. On the other hand, he's giving us another perspective. In simple terms, Kabbalah is teaching what you and I learn here on Spiritual Sunday, what we learn in the center, what all the Kabbalists have been writing for thousands of years. It's nothing new. I mean, ultimately, it's nothing new because we all learned it in the endless world. But when you read it with like Kabbalah center glasses, I call them, you start to see the pattern of things, and it makes things clearer in different ways. You get a different person's perspective on things from, let's say, 100 years ago, and all of a sudden you go, wow, it's the same thing going on now. The same thing. Well, that's not a good sign. It's like if a person does their astrology chart, or they think they know a little astrology, and they say, oh, whatever, the typical Libra, Scorpio, this and this and this, this is what they usually are. And a person says, yeah, that's me. That's a bad sign. Our job is to come in on one level, transform ourselves day by day by day, so we don't look like the typical Scorpio, Libra, Aries, Pisces, whatever you are. You're supposed to be different. Every day the Kabbalists teach us we have the opportunity to receive, actually they say we receive a new spark of our soul. The issue is, what do people do with it? And I heard Michael Berg was saying in one of the classes he was giving from a few years back, he says, if you think of a person supposed to live, let's just say 100 years, so that means every day, 365 sparks times 100 years, that's how many sparks of light they've been given. So every day there's a new spark comes in that we're supposed to manifest that energy. But if a person's not aware of it, or they're just going along sort of like robots, just, rote routine, even though they think they're making choices, then nothing changed. So that spark of light came and went. And this is why we're saying why people can age so fast. Because if a person, let's say, was supposed to have 36,500 sparks to live 100 years, and day by day it comes in and they don't do anything with it, comes and they don't. So now they've got, a few thousand sparks that weren't made use of. And it's only the light that causes our physical cells of our body to regenerate. There's nothing in the physical world that's the cause of anything. Only the light of the Creator is the cause. How we act in the physical world will determine whether, in simple terms, we let that light in to be activated, revealed, manifest, and used, or sort of tell it, no thank you, go away, and let the next one show up the next day. That's our choice. So, like we'll talk about today, God's builders, I want to talk about that, because it was also, I have to tell you, I was inspired by something I heard again from Michael Berg from a few years ago that we're going to do. All right, so let's start with our affirmation. We have it here. And I was thinking, we always talk about, yes, we want to engrave it in our own mind and our own heart and soul more deeply. But let's start, and remind me if I don't do it the next time. And by the way, just I'll let you know right up front, next week I won't be here in person because I'm officiating at a wedding. May they have happiness and joy. Let's all wish them that. But so when we do this, not only for ourselves, but remember, we often talk about we're on this super spiritual internet, right? A worldwide spiritual internet. So let's not only engrave it deeper in our heart and soul, but let's meditate right now that as we're doing it, we're sending it to the heart and soul of every human being on earth. Like we say at the end, all human beings. Well, that's already preemptively. Let's start waking up the light inside them. So at least we've already started, before we hear anything else, we've already awakened, let's say out of 8 billion people, okay, let's say at least 1,000 people. At least 1,000 people we will cause not to yell, scream, fight, bite, steal, or do something worse, because we're channeling the light of this affirmation to 8 billion people. Somebody's got to be right on that verge thinking, yes, they want to go beat that person up, but at the same time, their soul is saying, no, 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 you don't want to do that. So they're like 50-50. And our channeling the light to them will push them on the side of the light, and they'll say, no, not today. Even if it's not today, so they'll have another day to really let their soul wake up. And by tomorrow, they'll go, oh my God, how could I have ever thought to do such a thing? You understand? We make that change. Nobody else out there. God doesn't do it. The whatever, politicians, the religious leaders, whatever, it's every person does. So let's do this with a new consciousness. Let me make sure I get my fingers out of the way for them. Okay, together. Consciousness is everything. I raise my consciousness today to see the miracles and wonders of life. I commit myself to behave with greater love, compassion, and kindness towards all human beings. So think about it. At least 1,000 people now are not going to do something nasty because we just did that. Think of the power we have. And so this is what I wanted to get into. I don't know, I've been doing this for 36 years, and the way Michael Berg said this thing, I thought, oh my goodness, what an easy way to explain it. So like this, in order to build a house, right? Let's say you bought an empty plot of land and you want to design your own house. You want to build your house, a personalized house. So what do? Think simple. You go to an architect with a vision in your head and you say, this is my vision of what I want to build. So then the architect draws you a drawing, like we'd call it the architect's drawing or a set of blueprints. And then what do? Then you take that to a contractor who in essence is somebody who knows how to build, has all the resources, all the laborers, all the help, right? All the people and things necessary to build it. And then what? They have to go out and build. Is that clear to everybody? Okay. Now, would you be happy just to have those blueprints? Would you take your current place, just put the blueprints up and say, I'm living in that new personal house? No, you want the physical house, right? So this is what he inspired me by using this simple example. So in the endless world, right? The endless world, what happened? The Creator created our soul. We call it a vessel, filled it with the infinite power of the light of the Creator, which means in essence, we were given an absolute, complete, perfect blueprint with all the details of how to have eternal bliss. Let's call it for you and me, heaven on earth. The light in us is the resources and all the power, the necessary things to build according to that blueprint. We got it? So now imagine you're looking at this, like this blueprint, and you're seeing even the architect's drawing. You know how sometimes they'll give you the blueprint, but maybe for most of us, we can't really see or envision, but then they draw what it looks like, right? Like what it'll look like when it's done, the nice house and the roof and the whatever, 2 stories and this, that, and other thing. So imagine we're looking at that in the endless world. We collectively excited. Wow, we can do that? Imagine what it'll be like when we live in that heaven on earth structure. But what's missing? We didn't build it yet, but we're excited, we're enthusiastic, we have all the wherewithal necessary. Everything, the ability, the skills, the talent, the drawing, everything. Even all the people, let's call it, that we need to build. That's it. The only thing we did then what? We had excitement. Collectively, we said,
Gonna move on and build it.
Yes, we need a plot of land to build on. The endless world is immaterial. It's only metaphysical, spiritual energy. So yes, we could feel we exist and all of that, but we didn't have the experience of creating and living in heaven on earth. But we had all the ways and means to do it. So then what did we do? We collectively, this is why you often hear me say on Sundays, we built this world. We made the universe. The Creator didn't create the universe. The Big Bang is created the universe. The Big Bang is created by us. We collectively decide. Now, it's an easier way to understand. We needed an empty plot of land, so to speak, to build this amazing heaven on earth. So what did we do? We restricted the endless world, and you can go back to Kabbalah 1, but in essence, we created the Big Bang, and we created this entire physical universe. And then we, as one soul, manifested as a human being, Genesis 1, which is coded, but it shows one person, dropped in this world. Then we split into Adam and Eve. And where did we live? And this I was thinking as I was preparing, the first ever 3D virtual reality model. When the Bible says the Garden of Eden, right? Adam and Eve were in the Garden of Eden. Think of it, virtual reality. Virtual reality, a 3D model. So again, now even as a physical being, we're excited. Wow, this is what it's going to be like. This is what we're going to be able to live in and live with. Peace, harmony, joy, eternal bliss, everybody loving each other, everybody having all good all the time, all of that. Imagine, really the nirvana, utopia, whatever other name you want to call it, that every religion, spirituality is looking for. We saw it. Then came the actual building, let's say. But the first thing, once we left that virtual reality or that 3D model called the Garden of Eden, then we collectively, as we talk about in other ways, we programmed an opponent. We programmed a challenger. And what's the programming relative in this message today? We programmed, we call it the opponent, a challenger. We put it in our own consciousness. I like to say the left side of the brain, and don't start giving me the right side of the brain, left side, just metaphorically, right? The right side is our soul's voice. The left side is the voice of the opponent. We put it there, why? To tempt us to say, oh, no, this heaven on earth that we saw and all of that, not good enough for me. Got to do it another way. Or maybe we start to think, well, maybe everybody else who's supposed to work on this isn't going to do it, so I have to do it myself. Right? Instead of working in harmony with everybody else who came out of the endless world with me, who made the same commitment, had the same desire, and also has a piece to play. Because we each have to build our own piece of heaven on earth. So we put that challenger there. So in essence, we would have what we would truly call the thrill of victory. Victory over the opponent, building heaven on earth. Because like we say in Kabbalah 1, if we just came down here and played a game, so to speak, okay, the Creator gave us power, and all we have to do is sort of wave our magic light wand, and whoosh, it shows up. Might be nice for 5 minutes, but you wouldn't have that sense of accomplishment, which is the real sense of fulfillment. We accomplished actually building a physical heaven on earth, similar to what we experience in the upper world, what we would call true heaven or the spiritual heaven. So we put that programmer there, that program in us, which also then was the free will or the temptation to look at everybody else and now start judging them. Why aren't they working as fast as me? Right? We need everybody. That's first and foremost. Everybody has their own piece of that heaven on earth to build. Just like if you hire a contractor to build the house. The plumbers have to do the plumbing. They don't do the electrical work. But they have to work in harmony according to the same blueprint with the electricians, with the guys who do the concrete, who do the framing, who do the drywall, who do the paint. Everybody got to work in harmony, but each one does their own job. With, in essence, their own piece of that blueprint. So the opponent in our head is now taunting us to look at everybody else. Well, why aren't they? And how come they're? And why, I resent them. Look, I'm working more than them. Tell me, you've never had the thought or heard people say, I'm doing more work in that office and getting less recognition or less pay than this person. Did you say it with all happiness and joy? No, a little bit of resentment, a little bit of judgment. That's what we're talking about now, but now on a quantum level. collectively. So you look at the state of the world today, that's it. Everybody there have given in so much to their opponent that there's the anger, the resentment, the judge, the hatred, the violence, the thievery, all the bad stuff going on. We've got to remember, and that's what I want us to get across today. I have my piece. I have to do my piece. The beauty is, as I will build my piece of heaven on earth, that yes, fits in with all the rest of humanity, but as I build my piece, by overcoming my opponent and building what I saw and I took responsibility from the endless world in that master blueprint, I find myself with greater peace, harmony, love, protection, prosperity, all the good blessings. It's not when everybody else will. We can build our own peace and have our own 100% fulfillment, but we can't have the ultimate unless we bring the entire heaven on earth into manifestation. And this is why it's important to work, like we say, greater love, kindness, and compassion to all humanity. Because I can't have my ultimate, like, I don't know, simple metaphor. I can build my bedroom, let's say, even though it's like a master suite in this heaven on earth mansion. So I can have my sense of fulfillment in this and this. But in essence, once I go outside of my master suite, I remember, because on a soul level, we all know the entire mansion of heaven on earth. So I will begin to feel a lack, even though I have my complete, absolutely fulfilling master room, my master suite. But the fact that the other people don't, or it's not complete, I will feel that lack. I will feel that lack. To the point where when we feel that lack, we have the choice. Yeah, you can hear it. Already the opponent's going to say, well, blame them. Scream at them. Hey, hurry up. What's the matter with you? Stupid. Aren't you? Blah, 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 blah. You can go on like that. Or you can say, no, let me get in there and help you. Let me encourage you. Let me support you. You have to build. You have to use all the tools and the wherewithal that's inside you that was given to you, but I can cheer you on. I mean, think about it. We have cheerleaders at different sports events. Are they the one on the field playing?
No.
So what's the purpose? If they're not on the field, why do they bother? Because they're exciting, they're motivating, they're giving encouragement to the team that's playing. So you and I have to build ours, and even as we're building, cheer on everybody else. Cheer on everyone else so they'll be excited. Let them see in you greater happiness and joy, greater vision and motivation to build your master suite in the entire framework of heaven on earth, because that will also excite them. Whereas maybe they were down and out. Maybe they're thinking, yeah, they tried to build and whatever it is, but they didn't get there. Life is against them. They'll have all the excuses. But when we come along and we're cheering them on, I say, look, if I can do it, you can do it. Right? I think I told you, I may have shared once, there was a student in the center years back who was, one of these people who, does the seminar and selling their books and products and this and this and this, the how-to. So he was telling us over the first beginning years that he was doing that stuff. He said he came to realize that some of the people that, he would do seminars with, let's say who had 3 PhDs and this, so, they'd give their whole spiel, and they'd, of course, tell their background. They have 3 PhDs and blah, blah, blah. And then they say, and here's your 7 steps to whatever. And he said they wouldn't sell stuff. And he, who told people, he had a little dyslexia and, he had difficulty to go through college. And he said after a while, he realized, why was he selling stuff? And this other guy who, so to speak, with the credentials, let's call it, would seem like that's the person you should go for. He says, no, he started to realize people didn't relate. Now, there's people who didn't have 3 college degrees, couldn't relate to somebody who had 3 college degrees and then saying, here's my book on how you can be successful in business or whatever, because they couldn't understand how they would be able to do it. But somebody who's like them, has the usual, worked hard to, get through school or has a little difficulty or whatever, and they made it, I could relate to that. Because I also may not think that I've got 3 college degrees or on that level, whatever. So if you give something that every human being on earth can relate with, and you say this is how to have success, great, easier to follow, more attractive. So every time you and I are shining more light by breaking through our blockages, removing some of our spiritual mud of the insecurity and the fear and the guilt and the greed and the ego. We're exciting other people and showing them, look, if I can do it, you can do it. Because I'm just like you, right? I started the same way. We all started the same way. Over the years, we tend to forget. So inside of us, we're all the same in that way. We all have the light of the Creator. So the more you're excited for your peace and at the same time offering encouragement, enthusiasm to the other people, the faster they'll all build. Faster we'll be able to achieve it. Okay, and that's it. Along the way, sure, we all made mistakes. Whatever we got caught up, we gave in the opponent, right? The opponent's pointing at the physical world and say, look, few people building. There's a few, couple foundations going on over there. But look, it's still not there. It's still not being done. Will it ever be done? Let me ask you. There's a part, probably all of us have that thought in our mind. When you hear any of the teachers in the Kabbalah Center or any of the books say, yes, the goal is, like we're talking today, heaven on earth. It's a guarantee there's going to be heaven on earth at some point. The issue is, are we going to run towards it and work fast, voluntarily, overcome our own blockages and negativity in this, or wait till, unfortunately, like we see people today, get kicked around by life in so much pain and suffering that in essence they're being forced to move forward and reveal their potential. That's our choice. So do you not see more and more people coming along into spirituality that are thinking about how to help the world, contribute more, help the people who are underprivileged or disadvantaged, things like that? Do you see more than ever? I do. I've met a lot of people who, introduced me to people who are out there trying to change the world. Yes, in the 1% we call it, but their consciousness is to make the world a better place. So there's more and more of those people coming along. How come we're tending to look at, it'll never happen, and peace on earth, that's a pipe dream, and it's all that mumbo jumbo woo-woo stuff? Really? You know what I tell people like that? I said, you've just been so blocked. Maybe you've allowed yourself to experience so many defeats or what you consider a failure that you just close up your heart, you close up your mind, and therefore you don't see that things are getting better. Yeah, maybe not fast enough. We'd like to see it yesterday, but at least look at the progress instead of look at what's still left to do. We have to change it. Start opening your heart. Start realizing it's our blockage that causes blockage out there. It's not that. Because out of the 1,000 people in our life around us, as like attracts like. So if you open your heart and you send out love and care and forgiveness and tolerance out into the world, you're going to attract those people who are also doing the same. Doesn't mean we still don't have more to go. Doesn't mean we're yet perfect, but at least we're moving forward. So you'll attract those. But people who are still operating with a closed heart, closed soul, closed mind, they're going to attract people who also have justification with the opponent, why to keep their heart closed, why not to want to help people, because they tried to help and they got, hurt and this and all the excuses. But light is light. I had a class, I don't know if I should say it, but okay. I'm teaching Kabbalah 4. We started in the first 5 minutes of this class. What does it mean, infinite? We say the light is infinite. So I asked the class. These are people who've already gone through Kabbalah 1, 2, and 3. Okay, what's infinite? So they came out with all correct answers, but not the foundation. No end, all good, blah, 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 blah. All I was looking for, because for me, it helps me to be able to live it and apply it more daily, more often on a daily basis. And I hope it will help you also. Help them think, what does infinite mean? It's everywhere. Infinite means everywhere. Yeah, it's also no end, all good, all the rest of it, that's true. But in fundamental concept, everywhere. If the light is infinite, it's everywhere. Why is that important? Because when you and I are being challenged, when something really pushes our wound, and we're feeling the pain of that wound, at that moment, the challenger speaks up loud and clear. The light is not there. The light went away. It's all by yourself. No, if the light is infinite, it is right there also. So if we hold on to that idea, if the light is right there in front of me, in front of us in that challenging situation. Why aren't we seeing it? Because of our limitations, our blindfolds, because we have the wound. So if 6 years ago, 60 years ago, a lifetime ago, somebody really acted with mean, nasty anger, they created that veil, that curtain, that wall of anger. Now, this lifetime, this last week, somebody came along and pushed that wound, hurt tremendously. But we know it's the soul's wake-up call, this wall of anger. Break it down because the light is there. And once you break the wall, the light shines automatically. So break the wall. No, the opponent comes in and says, no, I don't want you to give away the light. Stay in there. Because as long as the person stays in that shell, the opponent gets all the energy. That's why we call it a parasite. Parasite has no energy of its own, only what it can take from the host. So as long as we keep our heart, our mind, and our soul blocked, heaven forbid, the opponent's feeding off of that. Challenges will keep going. Or in simple terms, people just keep coming up with more vision and reasons why to stay the same. Oh, read the news. This bad thing and that bad thing and that bad thing and that bad thing. You ever notice some of you are mature enough that you remember that people over the years tried to start a good newspaper, a good news magazine. Yeah, 5 minutes, it was bankrupt. Nobody wants the good news, it seemed. So, so that's why if a person's holding their blockages, even they're thinking, okay, they want to break out. The moment the person says they want to break out, that's when the opponent starts to pay more attention. Because as long as a person's inside and just going along with feeding the opponent doesn't have to bother. It's getting what it wants, and it's going to go look around for people who are trying to break out of that shell. But once you and I try, we say to ourselves, no, I want to break out. I'm willing to be more kind, more generous, more compassionate than I was yesterday. Woo! Now the little bell goes off in the opponent's headquarters, says, go after them, go after them. They're trying to escape. And then suddenly, more attention being paid to that person. This is why once you decide to break out of that prison, be prepared for the guard called that opponent in our own head, not on the outside. Don't look and say, well, see, they didn't let it happen. Or I was going to be nice. I was nice to that person. What do they call it? Stabbed in the back or whatever it is. No, just keep going. Just keep going. Break it down that wall. Break down that wall. Break down that wall. More and more. Because every time you break through, the light will shine through. And if you pay attention to the light, it's amazing. It's amazing. Even that little spark of light, you suddenly see a whole new perspective. It illuminates the prison that we've kept ourselves in, therefore encouraging us to break more and more so the light gets brighter and brighter until we have space we can break out. That's the idea. So just as for those of you who maybe studied a little more and have a little more background, because we were just reading about, in the book of Exodus, we were reading about the event on Mount Sinai, called the revelation. It was the revelation of all the laws of the universe. And do not misconstrue. I remind you, the Kabbalists tell us, the Zohar says, we cannot take the 5 books of Moses only on its literal level, because there's much greater depth, much more spiritual wisdom and technology that's available. But even in its simplest terms, on Mount Sinai, if you read carefully, it says very simply, even in the literal level, God spoke the first 2 commandments. Now, we just said the light is infinite. So even in those simple terms, even in that literal level, if the Creator spoke, however you want to understand that, like a super loudspeaker or whatever, a worldwide loudspeaker, whatever, but if the Creator spoke the first 2 commandments, then which person on earth did not hear it? So the Kabbalists teach us, yes, what was happening on Mount Sinai, the revelation, we call it, of the 10 utterances, 10 sayings, 10 pieces of advice, how to live our life without chaos. Thou shalt not steal is not a commandment. If it was a commandment, nobody would be able to steal. But certainly people have stolen, and unfortunately they're still stealing. But it's a piece of advice. Steal $1, lose $1.50. That's advice. Person wants to steal, go ahead. Just realize it's going to cost them $1.50 for every dollar they steal. Person still wants to steal, go ahead. But at least don't be surprised when the $1.50 goes away, however it goes away, etc., etc. That's it. So these universal wisdom, as we would say, the Zohar and Kabbalah, was given to every person. It was a reminder, because where did we get originally? Endless world. The Creator created us as a soul, a vessel, filled us with light. The light knows all the technology of the universe. Like we said, has all the power, the blueprint, the awareness, the capability, everything. But Mount Sinai, because we had fallen so low up to that point, it was a reminder. It was like a wake-up call. Here, out inside you, sort of a mini experience of the endless world again. Wake up. Look at yourself. Remember, you're a piece of the Creator, not also creating. You are a piece of the Creator. That's the empowerment behind the stars and the planets and the earth and our body and everything. Proton, neutron, electron. We are that. Now we're talking about our work is to build our piece of heaven on earth in unity and harmony with everybody else, so that we will all have true eternal bliss. So Mount Sinai was that awakening where everybody in essence could see, if you will, the vision of what they were, what they truly are from the endless world. Sadly, again, like we said a few minutes ago, once we had that awakening, said, oh, what excitement, the anticipation of heaven on earth and living eternal bliss, woke us up. But then we had to go off the mountain and start building again. Kindness, love, generosity, compassion, humility, forgiveness, trust, certainty, etc. All the light-like behaviors. Sadly, the story of the golden calf was we decided we were going to look to somebody else to take responsibility for us. That's fundamentally what the golden calf was about. We didn't want to do the work ourselves. Here, you do your piece and my piece. And we'll call it sharing. That's not what Kabbalah teaches is sharing. Sharing is I'll do mine and I'll share support, consciousness, channeling energy to you, the light, so you can also do your piece. So you'll overcome your blockages. Working together. That's true sharing. That's true sharing. So that's it. So we're still going back to look at the world. We're still going back to blame, victimization, sadness, all of that. Right? Oh. So I made myself this note I didn't want to forget. We're on our own journey, but we're working together. Right? Like we said, what's the essence of friction? Why do you and why do people have discord with other people? So we can look at it many different ways. But in this regard, and maybe now it's a little clearer and easier to grasp, fundamentally, whether it's anger, fear, jealousy, sense of lack, poverty, whatever it may be, the essence is they are not doing my part. Why do you get angry at somebody? Because they did something that in essence made you feel a lack, an emptiness or whatever, and therefore the opponent comes in and says, see, they're not doing my job. So we scream and yell and fight and bite to try and take from them, right, what we think they took from us. They're not only not doing their part, they're not doing my part either. Because if they were doing my part, I'd be happier. So all friction comes down to that. Some way or another, they're not making me happy. They're not making me happy. They're not making me happy. So they're not doing my part. Because as we're talking about, if I build my master suite within the heaven on earth, I will feel great. I'll be blissed out all day, except for that tiny, tiny piece of acknowledging, because the rest of my soul, which is the 8 billion other people out there, is not complete. So yeah, I can have an amazing, amazing experience, but at that level, I will feel painfully the lack of the other 8 billion people that don't have their master suite. That's a Moses. That's all the great sages. That otherwise, if we call them great sages, they have their master suite. Why'd they bother with the rest of us? Think about it. In fact, most of them who bothered with the rest of us, not very good stories turned out. from the external, right? Various not good things happen to them along the way. So just go in your master suite, wait for the rest of us. No, because they felt the pain of the rest of us not being there in our piece of heaven on earth. So we want to start waking up and realize, no, it's our job to do ours and then work in tandem with them. That's all. In 1922, Rav Ashlag created, in essence founded, what we call today the Kabbalah Center. He knew there had to be a place, a community that could bring together all people. In fact, even back then, while he was being beat up and cursed and all kinds of horrible stuff, because he was, as some people unfortunately still believe, Kabbalah is only for the Orthodox Jewish men who are over 40, married, and very learned. When they're learned enough, then they can learn. Those were the kind of people he was teaching, a small group. And they still beat him up and all kinds of things like that. But he had the vision, Kabbalist, a great master Kabbalist, probably the greatest, at least in the last 500 years. He saw what you and I have today, the Kabbalah centers. So his vision was, yes, that has to come along, but he wasn't the one, he understood, that could build that. His disciple, who became the next master Kabbalist in this lineage, Rav Brandwein, same thing. In fact, I think I've told you the story. You know, he also taught a small group. He was learning till his teacher left the world. He had to walk almost 2 hours each way to go learn with his teacher, because the head of the bus line at that time in Israel had Rabbi Brandwein's picture on every bus and said, "This man you do not pick up on the bus." So he had to walk almost 2 hours to get to Rav Ashlag to learn, 2 hours back home. And yet he did it. And yet he did it. He became the successor of Rav Ashlag. And he became the teacher of our teachers, Rav Berg, who fortunately for us picked up Karen Berg along the way in the 1969, technically, I think it was. And Karen, being the vessel relative to the male and the female, she's the one who said, okay, she was the one who was in Rav Ashlag's vision to now manifest, if you will, like we're talking today, to build Kabbalah centers. You got to go out and teach this to everybody. You've got to find people who come along who will be a sort of a core group that will go knocking on doors to bring this wisdom to the world. We'll teach classes and make this grow, which, thank goodness, now, look at us. We're all over the world. Look at you guys watching here just on Spiritual Sunday. Hong Kong, Cape Town, all over the world. Macedonia, like that. That was the vision of Rav Ashlag, the great Kabbalist before him. But Rav Ashlag really, in essence, beginning the manifestation, the first building, if you will, foundation. And now you and I are taking it from them. The Rav and Karen, they left the world. They left it in the hands now of Michael Berg and Monica Berg, who are now bringing another level, a way to reach more people. If you think about it in simple terms, Rav Ashlag was very high, so he brought the wisdom, so it'd be here for all of us. But the people who really understood him were way sort of on a level of beyond us. Then Rav Brandwein brought it closer to earth, let's call it. The Rav and Karen brought it literally to earth, to every human being. And now Michael Berg and Monica Berg are bringing it to everybody in a way that everybody from, I don't even know what they call us anymore, the baby boomers to the millennials. Someone just told me yesterday, the people now that are, I don't know, 5, 6, 8, 9, or alpha, you know, all these things, that everybody, there's not one person can't learn from Michael and Monica Berg, because they bring it down so simply into this world. Yes, from the height, but they're bringing it down here where we can use it so we can climb, so we can do it. So you come to the Kabbalah Center, we're learning the blueprint, being reminded, it's almost like another form, like we said today, of Mount Sinai, a reawakening. And this is why you, me, and probably most of the people who come in to take at least Kabbalah 1, after a few weeks they go, you know, this feels like home. This feels like home, like I'm comfortable with it, like it's familiar. Why? The endless world. We all were one. We all know each other. We all made the same commitment to come here and build our piece of heaven on earth and together with everybody else. So of course, that's the point of the center, how to now physically unite people of all the backgrounds and everything else to finish the manifestation. Hello, what are we waiting for? Do you want heaven on earth? Would you like to have eternal bliss? Or do you like what's going on in the world? Great, good answer. I can hear them more out there, right? No, I don't like the part of more people in the center and more Zors going out there. Absolutely, because that's what's waking people up to speed up the process. But all the chaos and the way people are still in the mud and the prison of their heart, soul, and mind, still beating up people, killing, torturing, tormenting, all the bad stuff, stealing, all that, from the minor to the major. I don't like that. I don't like that. So this is why we're committed here to give people the ways and means and the encouragement how to build their peace. Can't do it for you. My teachers couldn't do it for me. Unfortunately, but no, they couldn't. But fortunately, I guess, whatever. Okay, I got the message. Let's just put it that way. So, the bottom line is the Kabbalah Center is here to teach us how to beat the opponent, how to recognize the opponent. Because if you can't recognize the opponent, the real opponent, and we know, and I will keep reminding you, there's no true opponent, enemy of any one of us in the physical body. The only true opponent is the one that's in our head. You can call it whatever name you want to call it. The opponent, the challenger, the angel of death, the evil inclination, whatever. That's our only opponent. And the only way to beat it is when we're willing to act with greater love and kindness and tolerance and forgiveness and generosity, etc. So, let me remind you the methodology. And for me, Kabbalah 1 has become ultimately essential. And you hear me, and I'll probably keep doing it. At least once a year, you go back and review Kabbalah 1 because it's a foundation. It's the big picture. It's the reminder, like we're saying a little bit today. It's the reminder who we are, how we came out of the endless world, why we came out of the endless world, and what's the process to build our heaven on earth. So fundamental, and I'll just tell you this way, because the process is the same. I don't care if you're Jewish, Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, atheist, Satanist, whatever you want to call yourself. The technology of the soul is the same. And once you learn Kabbalah 1 and you put on those Kabbalah Center glasses, you will see whatever religion, whatever teaching you have been following, you will see how at the essence, it's exactly what we're teaching here at the root. Yeah, along the way, things got a little changed, a little different, a little whatever, but the root of it is the same because any great sage who connected to the light in the upper worlds, it's only one technology. People just came out with a different opinion or a different perspective as it comes down here. So here, let me just cut to the chase. This is the basic process. Something pushes your button. An event, a person, they say, do, you watch the news, read the newspaper, whatever it is, get your button pushed. Pause, stop. Don't just knee-jerk respond. Pause, now ask yourself, what's the message my soul is trying to give me through this event? And like the Rav and Karen taught me and all the Kabbalists say, doesn't mean, from my point of view, whatever happened had to happen to wake me up. That person who brought me the message, they had the free will to act reactively or not. Now, the Kabbalists also say, if that person, let's say, who came and actually said, if they had restricted, like we're talking about, and then they went away and they didn't scream and yell, let's say, to push my button, I still need to be awakened because that's my soul still trying to get me the message. So there's out there, call it plan B, there's another person who might be in that reactive mode, and they'll come and they'll say or do whatever it is, push my button, give me the message from my soul, etc. But it's their free will. So they have their side, I have my side. Like we said, I can build my master room in the heaven on earth, and I can live in that. And somebody else could be living in what they think is, horrendous situation. That's their job, or that's their choice, not mine. So somebody comes along and delivers the message, yeah, Not saying that it's a good thing, it's a nice thing, etc., but I have to take it for my growth to build more of my piece of that heaven on earth. I have to take the message. So you pause. Okay, what is my soul trying to tell me? For me, that simplest answer is, what do I feel? If I'm feeling angry, then my soul's pointing out I'm still blocked by anger. If it's jealousy, if it's fear, if it's greed, insecurity, poverty consciousness, whatever it may be, that's the message. Now ask yourself, what do you want to come back? Because it's like attracts like. From me. I'm the cause of my circuit of energy. You're the cause of yours. So somebody pushes your anger button. You have the choice. After you pause, you realize it's anger. You can ask yourself, scream and yell, manifest your anger towards that person, that situation. The universe is going to take it out and bring it back to you. Is that what you want? Or do you want to act with kindness, forgiveness, tolerance, compassion, which again is protection from the next level of darkness. Light protects from darkness, not anger. So you shine light, it'll go out and it'll come back to you the right time, the right way. From your tikkun or your spiritual necessity, it'll come back to you. And then just do it. Act. Shine the light of compassion, forgiveness. Act with compassion and forgiveness. Maybe ask them. One example, but as you'll shine the light, start to activate that energy, you'll get your own correct answer in the moment. But it is possible that that person just having a bad day and they're not even realizing what they're saying or doing, because in their mind they're so caught up with their opponent that they just spew out something, and because you happen to be sitting there, your opponent says, take it personally. No. So you pause and say, what do I want to come back? Shine light, act in a more compassionate, light way. That'll come back to you. You'll walk away more fulfilled, more of your master room completed, and they'll be awakened. Even if in that moment they don't realize it, but you just awakened something in their soul. And that's it. Then you're completing more of your piece. So I just want to finish with this. Rav Ashlag, I mentioned, I think it's on here, I think once we started, Rav Ashlag, the founder of the center. So in his book, On World Peace, which has become very impactful for me recently. So he writes like this. He says, the true builders. He explains peacemakers, constructors like builders and destroyers. It's eye-opening because what he calls peacemakers, and as you'll start to read it first, you go, oh yeah, those are the peacemakers. In the end of this story, he shows how what we generally consider are the peacemakers are the destroyers of the world. The destroyers. And the people who we think are weak and doing nothing or whatever are actually the builders of the world. So read the book. I encourage you. All of you will get something from it. Yeah, the more you'll learn and grow, you'll get more. So he says like this, the true builders of this heaven on earth relative today are willing to give of their own, are willing to give away of their own for the sake of others in order to save the construction of the world. Not just give of their own for nothing, for no good reason, or for themselves, or to be liked, or whatever. No, in order to save the construction of the world. So let's take this lesson. Let's be the builders, willing to give up our own anger, resentment, jealousy, revenge, hurt, guilt, shame, pity party, whatever, even money and time. Ooh, touch some buttons. For the sake of working together with the other builders of the world, the other people who are working more in alignment with what we're talking now to complete the construction, not only of their piece of heaven on earth, but to complete heaven on earth. So it will be heaven on earth and peace for all people. God bless. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, okay. So at least people know there's somebody out there. Okay. So as we do every week, again, the primary project mission is handing out these Zohars. And I shared with the group here, I think before we recorded, in around the world, we have already, in 3 months, we have distributed, with your support and your sponsorship, over 400,000 of these pocket Zohars and a number of, the sacred Zohars and things like that, around the world. Last year, in a whole year, just barely 100,000. So unfortunately, the painful events in these last 6-8 months or so, couple years really, have started to wake people up. So you and I want to be ahead of the curve. So yes, in this case, I'm asking you not to sacrifice and not even to give. But as I often tell people, invest. You know, I have some students, some friends who are talking about investing in the stock market, looking for the next Google, the next Apple, the next whatever like that to invest in and make their money. There's no better investment than the light of the Creator. And there's no more powerful instrument of the light of the Creator to finish off the angel of death and the Zohar. So I'm asking you, yes, to invest more, make the effort to invest through the projects of the center, to spread the Zohar, wake more people up faster, to understand the power of the Zohar, that we can fill the world with Zohar until there's no more darkness, and therefore there's only peace, love, harmony, and immortality. Immortality. And this is why we always take this time now to bless our offering. So those of you here, you're welcome to do that with us now. Let's see, where is, for those of you online, please, okay. I put there, please think, if you're watching this, and especially those of you who are watching it regularly or semi-regularly, it's got to be touching your heart and soul. Otherwise, why are you watching? Why are you here together? And so I ask you, really, unblock heart, soul, and mind, because I'm sure there's all kinds of justification. Let's already start to feel the pain of those who are not yet here, who are not living in this technology of the light. And I'm asking you the same thing I'm asking the people here. Invest. Take some of your money. I put the link there, and just give. Give. Start giving. You'll see how the return will be many, many times over. And you're helping to complete heaven on earth for everybody. So really, as we do this meditation, and we'll do for the offering, but we'll also do the meditation on one of the 72 names here shortly. Really open your heart and soul and let your soul speak to you about supporting us and helping us to finish the job, that everybody will have peace. So hold your offering in your hand, those of you who are here, even those of you out there. Take the money out of your pocket or whatever you may be doing, or just your commitment, and you'll follow up afterwards. And we want to inject this gift, this offering, this vessel with the light of gratitude, appreciation for all the blessings the Creator has given us. Acknowledging a greater value in the blessings we have in our life already, a proactive anticipation and excitement as we share more, as we transform more, using the power of the Creator in us, that we turn the darkness to light and the chaos to order, and the curses and difficulties of our life, using this power, transforming them into blessings. And just reach in to the depth of your heart right now, just to feel the pain that's going on out there in the rest of the 8 billion people on the planet. Most of them who have no idea of what we're learning. They're stuck only in the 1% physical materiality, under the major influence of the opponent in their head. To still be in various levels of chaos, confusion, discord, sadness, victimization, depression. And let's inject this offering, that it goes through the projects of the center to support people who need help to come learn in the classes through the scholarship, and to spread the Zohar, the books of the Zohar around the world, to wake up the soul in the most powerful and merciful way, to wake up the Creator inside, that everyone will act with greater love, kindness, and compassion towards all human beings. And together we say, Amen. And so now, let's see, those of you, okay, you have on the screen, or you have in front of you, this is one of the 72 names of God. If you are brand new, yes, it's 3 Hebrew letters, but Hebrew letters are primordial. They came out of the endless world, as did our soul. They shine the light of the Creator. What you see is really technically the body of that energy, like our physical body. So the physical world needs a physical vehicle. So these 3 light forces combine together, Ein, Shin, Lamed, Ein, Shin, Lamed, to activate the power of peace on earth, world peace, which, as we said today, is awakening a stronger, clearer vision and memory of the architect's drawing in the endless world of heaven on earth, the reminder that we have the power of the Creator and all the necessary resources to make it happen. And we're going to use this Ein Shin Lamed. So just envision the letters, let them be engraved in your mind's eye. We want to use them to speed up the process of each one of us doing our job, building our master suite, and encouraging, motivating along the way, and even after we've finished our piece, to support everybody else to complete the vision that we all saw in the endless world, and that we saw our 3D virtual reality in this world called the Garden of Eden. We want to make that physically manifest. Ein Shin Lamed. Okay? So I can ask you, sit comfortably in your chair, your seat, feet flat on the floor, hands on your lap. Taking a few deep breaths, breathing in through the nose. Hold the breath for a moment. Exhale through your mouth. Allowing yourself to relax into the warmth, the vibration, the energy of the unconditional love that is the light of the Creator, that is infinite, filling the entire universe and more, that exists in every facet of your life, that is ready, waiting for you to reveal it through the challenges of your life, taking away the curtains, the blockages that have caused us not to see the light, is right there with the answers, the power, and the solution. Allow yourself to feel enveloped in this unconditional love of the pure light of the Creator. And together we envision the Ein Shin Lamed, just above our heads, seeing the beam of light that comes out of the endless world, that's being channeled through these 3 energy light particles. We see them shining, glowing with the bright, white, endless light. And now allow that energy, Ein, Shin, Lamed, to enter through the top of your head, shining, emanating out, starting from the head, and let it travel from head to toe. That our entire being is being awakened, Ein, Shin, Lamed, to the next level, brighter light, removing the blockages in our consciousness, our mind, our heart, and our soul. Allowing more of the consciousness of the light and the love, unconditional love in our heart and soul to be manifest outward, to be revealed. Feel that vibration awakening inside you. Listen to the voice of your soul as it shares a special message with you about an issue you're going through now, about how you can handle it as the light, removing darkness from your life, allowing more light and blessing to shine out from you into your world. Ein, Shin, Lamed, thereby creating a greater sense of peace. This higher consciousness, reawakening what we already know, that as we will simply beam light from our heart and soul to the heart and soul of every other person, we are powerfully awakening the light inside them. We are shaking them up from inside to remember they are also pure and perfect beings of light, that they have a piece of the Creator inside them. And that by acting as the Creator, they build their piece of heaven on earth. They have greater peace, love, harmony, prosperity, joy, and fulfillment. And drawing 8 billion people to higher levels, forward in their spiritual progress, accelerating the completion of heaven on earth. And so we envision this beam of light out of our heart and soul, the frequency of the Ein, Shin, Lamed, consciously, with as much focus and intensity as we can build right now, directly to the heart and soul of all human beings on earth. Envision the beams of light that you're shining out, piercing their walls, piercing their blockages, touching the light in their heart and soul, and see them waking up, a new awareness of their true power of light, the potential that's inside them, the blessings that are waiting for them to make manifest, that they no longer have to try and get it from others or from the outside, projected from inside. Ayin Shin Lamed, covering the planet. Peace, harmony, joy, love. Notice and remember how you feel more at peace, greater certainty, greater trust. As you share more, transform more, there is always a greater supply from above waiting to channel through you. By sharing light, only brings greater illumination and all the abundance of light. And the world becoming a brighter place. And together we'll take one more deep breath, anchoring this into our heart, soul, and mind, and slowly exhale and open your eyes. Those of you here, thank you. Those of you out there in cyberspace, wherever you are, just be today, tomorrow, moving forward, greater beacons of light, channel more light out to the world. We'll speed it up. And the more we work together, the faster, more exponentially, we can change the planet. God bless. Have a great week.
Thank you for joining us. If you liked what you saw, subscribe to this channel that you'll be notified when we post new videos. Share the video with your friends, they can also benefit. And check out the website, www.kabbalah.com, that's Kabbalah, for hundreds of articles and classes. Wish you an amazing day, and God bless.